Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
This morning, I stumbled across a Reddit tale that shook me. My fiancée received a text from her so-called work dad that read, "Hope your oblivious fiancé doesn't catch on. Catch you tonight." She just chuckled. "It's just a gag. Don't get paranoid," she said. So, I played along, pretending everything was fine. My phone erupted with 24 missed calls and 37 texts. For 5 years, I believed Emily and I had something unbreakable, engaged for the last one. I never once doubted her fidelity. We built a life together, shared goals, plans for the future, even a joint account for our dream honeymoon in Greece. 6 months ago, I'd have sworn I was marrying my soulmate. But recently, something felt wrong. It started subtly. More late nights at the office, sudden urgent work trips, a new habit of guarding her phone, which she never used to do. I brushed it off, convincing myself I was overanalyzing, that she was just swamped, that she'd open up if something was amiss. While Emily was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the bedside table. Normally, I wouldn't have cared, but the sender's name stopped me dead. Work dad. The message. Hope your oblivious fiancé doesn't catch on. Catch you tonight. My heart sank. I scrambled for a rational explanation. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe I was misinterpreting it. But deep down, I knew this wasn't harmless. This was a blatant admission of deceit, staring me in the face. My hands shook as I fought a wave of nausea. Emily emerged from the bathroom, towel around her, drying her hair. She noticed me staring at her phone, still glowing on the table. For a moment, her expression froze. Then she laughed. "Oh, babe, don't tell me you're jealous over that." I stayed silent, just raising an eyebrow. She snatched her phone, typed something quickly, and locked it. "Emily?" I said slowly. "Who's work dad?" She smirked. "It's just Mark, my boss. It's a silly nickname we toss around at work." I stared at her. She wasn't even trying to cover it up. "You don't think that text is strange?" She rolled her eyes. "Seriously, Liam, it's a joke. Don't be so insecure." Something inside me broke, but I hid it. I forced a laugh, shaking my head. "Yeah, you're right. My bad." She relaxed, thinking I'd bought her excuse. But what she didn't know was that I was about to dismantle her entire world. Emily slept like a rock, oblivious to alarms or even me nudging her for early meetings. That night, as she dozed beside me, I lay awake, pulse racing. I knew her phone had Face ID and a PIN, but it also had fingerprint unlock, and I knew how to use it. Carefully, I lifted her hand and pressed her finger to the screen. Click. The phone opened. My hands trembled as I opened her messages. There it was, Mark. I tapped, and what I found shattered everything. Months of texts. Flirty. Intimate. Suggestive. Hotel reservations. Late-night work trips. Receipts for gifts. Necklaces, dresses. Even a weekend getaway. None of which she'd ever mentioned. Worse, she wasn't being manipulated. She was fully complicit. There were texts mocking me. "Liam's clueless. He still thinks I'm staying late for projects. I'll need to figure out how to dump him soon. He's too sweet. It'll be messy." My throat tightened. I put the phone down, staring at the ceiling, letting the betrayal sink in. I couldn't bear to dig deeper. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave me, probably after draining everything I had. But she had no idea I wasn't going to let that happen. Over the next 3 days, I crafted my plan. First, I hid a voice-activated recorder under the bed frame to capture anything suspicious when I wasn't home. Second, I installed a tracking app on her phone to monitor her messages and locations. Third, I played the fool. If she thought I was oblivious, she'd get sloppy. So I leaned into it. I kissed her goodbye before her work trips, smiled when she claimed to be working late, even praised her dedication. In response, she grew reckless. She stayed out more, left Mark's name visible in her notifications, and made plans I could now track. By week's end, I had recordings, screenshots, GPS logs, and even voice messages where she admitted to the affair. That was all I needed. It was time to spring the trap. The night before Emily's next business trip, I pushed her a bit. Over dinner, I casually asked, "When are we setting a wedding date?" She paused briefly before flashing a fake smile. "Soon, love," she said, squeezing my hand. "I just want to be sure we're set financially." Translation. "I'm biding my time until I can leave you for Mark." I smiled back. "No rush, take your time." But what she didn't know was that I had a different date planned. A court date that would leave her with nothing. Emily had no clue I was tracking her every move. I let her believe I was the clueless fiancé, blindly devoted, unaware of her betrayal. Predictably, she got careless. The app showed me every text she sent to Mark, each one fueling my anger. Ugh. Liam's been so needy lately, she wrote. He's still clueless, but he keeps asking about the wedding. Mark replied, he probably thinks you're actually marrying him. The only ring I care about is one with my name on it. That one nearly broke me, but I stayed calm. My goal wasn't to lash out, it was to win. Before confronting her, I ensured Emily wouldn't get a dime. I removed her from our joint honeymoon fund and moved my savings to a private account. If she wanted Mark, he could bankroll her. But first, I needed to take down Mark. I needed an ally, someone with access to Mark's world. Enter Jake, an old friend who worked at Mark's company. Not in Emily's department, but he knew the office dynamics and despised Mark. I called him. Jake, I need your help. It's about Emily's boss. The line went quiet before Jake laughed darkly. Let me guess. He's sleeping with her, isn't he? I gritted my teeth. Yeah. Jake cursed. That guy's a sleaze. I knew he was trouble, but hitting on an engaged woman? Low even for him. I need dirt on him, I said. Anything to bury him. Jake sighed. Wish I had something solid, but he's slick. Everyone hates him, but he covers his tracks. Then he added, but something's off. He has these secretive late-night meetings, and he's always splashing cash. Fancy dinners, gifts, but never mentions a side gig. It's like the money just appears. That was my opening. Mark wasn't spending his own money. He was dipping into someone else's. I grinned. Jake, keep tabs on him. If anything shady surfaces, let me know. You got it. I needed proof, and the best way was to make Mark incriminate himself. Emily was out cold that night, so I used her fingerprint to unlock her phone again. I scrolled to her text with Mark and found a fresh one from an hour earlier. Can't wait for tomorrow. Should I bring anything? Emily had replied with a winking emoji. I smirked and typed as Emily. Babe, Liam was asking questions today. He's getting suspicious. Mark replied instantly. He won't do anything. Chill. I pushed further. I know, but he's weird about the bracelet you got me. Mark took the bait. Don't worry. That wasn't my money. The project budget covered it. My pulse raced. One more nudge. Is that safe? Mark's arrogance shone through. Trust me. I've been moving funds for years. No one notices. Jackpot. Confession. I screenshotted everything and sent it to Jake. My phone buzzed immediately. Holy crap, man. Jake texted. This isn't just proof. It's corporate fraud. This could land him in jail. I grinned. Good. Let's make sure his whole company sees it. Jake was all in. We spent the next hour drafting the perfect email. Subject. Urgent. Evidence of fraudulent activity by Mark Thompson. Dear Board, HR and Finance Team. Attached is evidence of misuse of company funds by Mark Thompson, including unauthorized transactions and personal use of corporate finances. Please investigate immediately. Attachments. Screenshots of Mark's texts, expense reports Jake provided showing misallocated funds, and details of after-hours financial misconduct. CC every employee. We scheduled it to send at 9 a.m., when Mark would be strolling into work. By the time he sat down, his career would be over. And Emily? She was in for a rude awakening. At 9 a.m., Mark walked into his office, oblivious to the firestorm. Jake got there at 8 a.m. to witness the fallout. He kept me posted. Mark, sipping his fancy coffee, flashing his smug grin, settling into his cushy chair, was blindsided by gasps and whispers rippling through the office. Employees opened the email, seeing a damning exposé. Mark's texts admitting to stealing funds, manipulated expense reports, and proof of business trips that were really trysts with Emily. Before Mark could react, HR stormed in. Mark, conference room. Now. HR, finance, and legal were waiting. Security escorted him out within the hour. No severance, no quiet exit, just public humiliation. At 10 a.m., as Emily sat at her desk with her coffee, Jake hit send on the second email. Subject. Urgent. Workplace misconduct. Dear HR and staff, Emily Brown has engaged in an inappropriate relationship with her superior, Mark Thompson. Attached is evidence of workplace misconduct, including an undisclosed affair leading to favoritism, fake business trips, and benefiting from misused funds. CC, the entire company. Emily walked into a changed office. Eyes followed her, whispers spread, some snickered. Then she opened her email. Her face went pale as she saw the screenshots, texts, and proof of her affair. She was done. Mark was already fired. Now it was her turn. HR summoned her immediately. She tried to deny it, claiming the texts were misunderstood and that Mark had tricked her. HR wasn't fooled. She was suspended pending investigation, and given the company's strict policies, her career was over by noon. At 11 a.m., while Emily was breaking down in HR, I was at home, sipping coffee. My phone lit up, 24 missed calls, 37 texts. Liam, please call me. Something awful happened. You don't understand, we need to talk. I think I lost my job. Mark's fired. Please, I need you. I smirked. She was spiraling. Her boss gone, her job in tatters, her reputation ruined. But I wasn't finished. On her 37th text, I answered calmly, "It's just a joke, Emily. Don't be insecure." Then I hung up. When Emily got back to our apartment, her world had crumbled. She stood outside, sobbing into the intercom. "Liam, please just talk to me. I know you're there." I sipped my coffee, listening to her desperate pleas. She was frantic. "I know I messed up. I was stupid, but I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know Mark was using company money." Lies. And we both knew it. "Liam, please. I lost my job. I have nowhere to go. Nowhere to go." That hit me. Emily had moved in with me months ago with no fallback. Mark was her escape plan, and now she had nothing. I walked to the intercom and spoke calmly. "What do you want, Emily? I just need to talk. We can fix this." I laughed. "Emily, the only thing broken is your scheme. That's not getting fixed." Click. I cut her off. She pounded on the door. "Liam, you can't do this. I have nothing." Exactly. That was the point. She spent 5 years weaving a web of lies, and I unraveled it in 5 days. I snapped a photo of her slumped outside and sent it to Jake. "Not so untouchable now, huh?" Jake replied, "Man, I'm dying laughing." I chuckled, turned off my phone, and let Emily scream. She wasn't getting back in. She wasn't my problem anymore. This morning, she thought she had everything. Now she was just a mistake I'd erased.